Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Time, where we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones we don't.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Molly.
Happy Star Wars Celebration Day. It's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And today, as we've been doing for the last couple of years, for May the 4th, we're going to be doing a Star Wars video.
Yes, the May the 4th, the perfect Star Wars day.
Yes, it is. Now, this time, we're going to be going over our top 5 favorite Star Wars characters. There's a lot of characters in this crazy world, and we're going to be talking about our favorite ones. Are you going in any particular order? Because mine is more just like kind of a hodgepodge, but I'll do my favorite one at the end.
Yeah, I think I have mine in order.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I put mine in order.
You know what? I'm pretty sure I did now, too, now that I think about it in my mind.
All right. I feel like mine are pretty basic, you know.
Well, why don't you start with your list then?
Okay, I will. Number 5, I put Anakin Skywalker.
All right. Now, what makes him your favorite?
Because he has a lot of internal turmoil, and he struggles with his the feelings of what's right and what's wrong, and he's pulled over to the dark side to become Darth Vader. And you know, at the very end of the whole thing, Darth Vader does return to Anakin Skywalker, but he loses himself for a while there. So yeah, he's just a very interesting character with a lot of twists and turns with his life.
Yes, he is. I agree. You're going to be seeing him on my list too. Where's he going to go? I don't know, but he's going to go somewhere.
Yes.
So I'll get into him when it comes time for my turn.
Okay. Man, also excuse me, I've been having allergies and I am stopped up, so sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep away from her so I don't catch any of her sickness. I don't really want that.
It's allergies. You cannot catch my allergies. Pollen count is very high. It was very high this past weekend.
Yeah, we live in Missouri. We have lots of pollen. We have lots of humidity. We have lots of tornadoes too, as we've seen the past few weeks.
Yeah, I think tornado season is pretty much over. But hey, you never know.
That's true.
Anyways, do you want me to do the rest of mine, or are we gonna flip flop?
How about you go through get to number 2, and then I'll do mine number 5 to 2.
Okay. So number 5, I had Anakin Skywalker. Number 4, I chose Chewbacca, and that's pretty much because I just like him. I just think he's kind of cute and hairy, and I think he's a good companion to Han Solo. They're back and forth. Even though you can't understand Chewbacca, you kind of know what he's saying. You can read his body language and his tone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you're able to basically get the gist of what Groot is saying in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. You more or less can get it.
Yeah, it is like that. And that's one of the reasons I like him. You know what he's saying, you know what he's thinking, all through body language and his noises he makes. I think he's cute. What can I say? He's a cute hairy guy.
Yep.
Yeah. My number 3 favorite Star Wars character, I put Han Solo. I think Han Solo's pretty cool. He's a cool What? He's not a bounty hunter. I can't.
Smuggler.
Smuggler. I don't know why my brain is not working this evening, probably because I'm a little sick. Anyways, so yeah, he's a smuggler, pretty cool. He's sassy. He's a good smuggler, and I mean, he's really cool. He's one of the coolest characters, and he doesn't even have a lightsaber. So that tells you something.
Yeah, and he has a very interesting storyline from when we first meet him in A New Hope, where he goes from this jaded, cynical anti-hero to being one of the biggest heroes of the rebellion, willing to put his ass on the line for not just his friends, but for a greater cause in general. It's really great to see.
Yeah, he has a good character arc, and yeah, he's cool. Who doesn't love a young Harrison Ford?
Certain studio executives who couldn't see him as a movie star,
I guess so.
who remain nameless because who knows who they are. I certainly don't.
Yeah, we see what a mistake that was.
Imagine being the guy who rejected Harrison Ford. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, couldn't be me. All right, so Han Solo was number 3. Number 2, I had everybody's favorite little green guy, Yoda.
Kermit.
Oh. I guess I like more green guys than what I thought. But yeah, I've always liked Yoda. I don't know why. I think he's kind of funny because he's small, he's green, he's old, but he could still kick some butt.
And the fact that he sounds exactly like Grover is no never mind to you.
Maybe that does have a little bit to do with it. But yeah, I just like him. And I mean, he's one of the most wise and powerful Jedis. And he's just this tiny little creature. This knowledge and wisdom in one small little wrinkly green guy.
Yeah, I like how when we first meet him in Empire Strikes Back, he's, there's clearly a story behind him. He's this, because you don't just meet this wise old master of a mystical art out in the middle of a swamp, or maybe you do, I guess. That sounds about right, actually. But you get the sense that this guy, he's probably out here for a reason. He's made a lot of mistakes, and as we saw in the prequels, his complacency and his old age, being in the Jedi Order for as long as he did, led him to make a lot of mistakes with complacency, with just being okay with how things are and not wanting to really evolve or make the Jedi Order evolve as a whole. And that really is partially what led to their downfall.
Yeah, he's lived through a lot. He's pretty old. Until he died.
Yeah, but he was still old when he died.
Yes, very old. Yeah, and I also like when we meet him, he's kind of goofy, and he goes through Luke and R2-D2 stuff and causes a little bit of chaos, and then we find out, oh, this is the old wise Jedi Knight. Kind of funny.
Yeah, he's classic misdirection, and from what we've seen in the prequels and especially Clone Wars, he and R2, well, they knew each other. They had gone on some missions before during the Clone Wars, so him and R2, they most likely did recognize each other. They were just messing with each other in front of Luke.
Yeah, probably, because I mean, they definitely have to remember. Well, R2-D2 should definitely remember.
They're just a couple of goofy guys.
Yeah.
Now, we can do your honorable mentions at the same time as mine, so I'm going to just start on mine, if that's okay.
All right, what's your number 5?
My number 5, my 5th favorite character in all of Star Wars, has got to be the bounty hunter, Cad Bane.
I'm not too familiar. I've just saw him in
Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett, yeah.
Now, if that was your only experience with Cad Bane, you are sorely lacking. He was introduced on the Clone Wars on Cartoon Network, and he's introduced as one of the most capable and, quite frankly, coolest bounty hunters in all of Star Wars. Boba Fett, get out of here. Jango, get lost. Cad Bane's where it's at.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I do not know, so I can't really say.
Now, in Cad Bane's first episode, he's shown taking a whole bunch of senators hostage in the Senate, and he and his minions actually managed to incapacitate Anakin Skywalker, who's, to be fair, doesn't have a lightsaber, but he still has the Force, so it's still pretty impressive.
Yeah, still impressive.
Cad Bane is also shown to be able to take out other Jedi, such when he took on both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Quinlan Vos at the same time. Now, these are some high-level Jedi Masters, Quinlan Vos being a bit of a rogue Jedi who goes undercover a lot in the Outer Rim territories. So the fact that Bane is able to go toe-to-toe with both of these guys, it's really it says a lot about his capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, it sure sounds like it.
Plus, he may be a ruthless bounty hunter who's willing to kidnap Force-sensitive children, infants even, but we do see that he has a bit of a nobler side when Obi-Wan is undercover in a prison that Bane is at. Cad Bane is willing to put his own life on the line to help him escape death traps when he doesn't even know that it is Obi-Wan.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, he's a really cool character inspired by Lee Van Cleef's character, Angel Eyes, from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So, George Lucas is working with some great influences there.
Yeah, they have the same look.
Yeah, they got the cool hat, the same drawl, the same ruthless bounty hunter attitude, who's really only in it for the money and himself.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
For the most part, but that's, well, like I said.
Yep.
Now, my number 4 is a more recent character in Star Wars canon, and I know I just said that Cad Bane is the coolest bounty hunter of all time, and yeah, he kind of is, but this one he's almost as cool, and that would be Din Djarin, the Mandalorian.
Yeah, he is pretty cool. I forgot to really even consider the Mandalorian for Star Wars characters.
Now, Din Djarin was a child when the Separatists attacked his home planet. Some droids, or some dirty, stinking clankers, killed his parents and were about to kill him when he was rescued by the Mandalorians, and he was taken in as a foundling. Now, later on down the line, he undertakes the oath, which he would leave his helmet on and live the warrior way of the Mandalorian. And when we meet him in the first season of The Mandalorian, he's just doing his jobs. It's just after the Empire has fallen, and he's just getting by, trying to really keep his culture alive as best he can, until he meets a mark that makes him reconsider killing it. The former Jedi pupil, Grogu, or Baby Yoda as he's called, which sends him on a pretty interesting character arc where he, for lack of a better word, regains his own humanity, not just as a Mandalorian, but as, well, a man in general.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I really like Baby Yoda. Pretty cute.
Yeah, he cute.
Yeah.
But through the 3 seasons of Mandalorian and his appearance in Book of Boba Fett, we really see this man trying to make his way the best he can in the Star Wars universe. And it's one of the most interesting things I've seen in all of Star Wars, I love just seeing this guy just not only grapple with his own self-image and his self-worth with his inability to use the Darksaber, but trying to find his own place in his clan, after he loses his status as a Mandalorian after he's forced to take off his helmet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I forgot about that part.
It's definitely an interesting character arc that we've seen him go through, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again once the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, you could probably say, "Oh, Tyler, you probably shouldn't be too excited for that. Remember the last season of Mandalorian?" To which I say, fair point. Last season was pretty mid, but through all of that, the Mandalorian himself was treated fine.
Yeah.
He got a bit sidelined, sure, but I would say his character itself wasn't disrespected.
Yeah. You're probably right.
What was that? My number 4? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now my number 3 is going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mr. High Ground himself. Now Obi-Wan had a bit of a rough going when he was at the temple as a child. His force sensitivity powers weren't too impressive. He had a pretty low midichlorian count as far as Jedi are concerned, and at one point, if you consider some of the books canon, which I mean I don't know if they are or not, at one point he was sent off to be a farmer in the Outer Rim because he just wasn't measuring up as a Jedi. However, as we see in the movies, he gets taken under the wing of Qui-Gon Jinn and later gets thrown into training Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one. So, no pressure. This was right after he lost his master and defeated the first Sith Lord that was seen in, at least a millennia. So again, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
And for what it's worth, Obi-Wan did the best he could. All right, this was not an easy job to have given anyone, let alone a brand new Jedi Knight who was literally yesterday just a Padawan. All right, what did you expect? You should have gotten someone better to train Anakin than this 20-year-old guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But through it all, I feel like Obi-Wan was the Jedi. He embodied the just the general feel and the general mindset of a Jedi, for better or for worse. Worst in that, again, the complacency of the Jedi was what helped to let the Empire take over, and the best in that he was the best that a Jedi could be. He was one with the Force. He had so many opportunities to turn to the dark side, and he never did. He always stayed in the light. Because, as Qui-Gon Jinn said, he stayed in the light because it was there.
Yeah, sure.
And later on in life, while trying to amend for his mistakes with Anakin, he attempts to train Luke and later gives his life so that Luke and the other rebels can escape and bring hope to the galaxy.
Yeah, pretty cool guy.
Just the mentor archetype in his original appearance, and we see the makings of that in the prequels, and even in his Disney Plus series. Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan is never a bad sight to see.
Yes, you're right.
My number 2 is Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. I went over a bit of that in the Obi-Wan section, but just to get into a bit more detail here, Anakin was a bit of a late bloomer to the latecomer to the Jedi Order. He showed up when he was 9 and already had established emotions, attachments, such that the Jedi aren't really too fond of their own having, for obvious reasons, as we see.
Yeah, we see what that leads to.
But I feel like, again, what did you expect was going to happen? You're taking this kid who already has all of these feelings and emotions that he's been, grappling with throughout his almost decade of life, and you're trying to make him turn it all off like that. It's not going to happen.
No, definitely not.
And the movies didn't really do Anakin too many favors when it comes to the prequels. I feel like he really got his chance to shine on the Clone Wars, where we see a more likable and a more capable Anakin Skywalker, and we get to see his relationship with the Jedi Council and the Order really erode to the point where he would choose to side with the Sith over them when the time came. Now, you may say that that's not good storytelling and that the movie should stand on their own. You're right. You are right. But as long as we're in the situation that we're in, might as well use the TV show to supplement things because that's just the hand we're dealt.
Yeah, sure. I've never seen the TV show, but I'm sure it's good.
We get to see his relationship with Obi-Wan, with Padme, with Ahsoka, with Yoda, all form and really grow and, again, erode naturally as they would for someone of his nature. And once he becomes Vader, at this point, he's lost everything he has or had. So all he has left to do is serve the Empire. And Darth Vader is possibly one of the greatest villains in all of cinema, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so.
He's menacing. He's capable. He's intelligent. He's got a presence to him that I can't explain. You just got to watch the movies, which you probably have.
Most likely. Mm-hmm.
But we see from Vader in an Empire when he tells Luke that he's his father. I'm not putting a spoiler alert for that because it's been over 40 years. You should know by now.
Yeah, you would think.
But we see from him a lighter shade of the villain, where he tells Luke that they can overthrow the Empire and end this destructive conflict. He knows what's going on isn't good for the galaxy, but it's what he has to do in order to really survive at this point. So he's going to keep going until he doesn't have to anymore. Which, with his son Luke, hopefully they can stop it.
Yeah. You're right.
Which leads into Vader's redemption and him saving Luke through Luke saving him. And it may have been at the very last second, but Anakin returned.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said. He came back just in time.
Yeah, all right. Now, before we get into our number ones, let's go into our honorable mentions. How about you, Sko?
Well, some of my honorable mentions were R2-D2, again, because I think he's cute and he's funny, and R2-D2's been around the whole time.
Since the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a theory that the whole Skywalker saga of Star Wars is R2 telling the story since he's been there the whole time.
Yeah, he's the character who's seen everything go down, but yet we can't even understand him.
Well, he's talking in all those beeps, and if 3PO's anything to go off of, he's got a huge potty mouth.
Yeah, that's what it seems. So yeah, really like R2-D2, and I also wrote down the Ewoks, mainly just to mess with you, but also I do like them. I am on Team Ewoks, so.
I'm not. All the Ewoks must die. I'll kill an Ewok with my bare hands if I have to.
I like them. I think they're cute.
I like the part in Return of the Jedi when that one Ewok gets blasted and then his friend goes and cries by his dead body.
Anyways, I'm Team Ewoks. I like the cute Ewoks, and I have seen the Ewok Star Wars movies.
I wonder what Ewok tastes like.
Not good. Don't even try.
I bet it tastes better than Porg.
Anyways, also on my honorable mentions, I have Luke and Leia Skywalker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I like Leia. She's a pretty cool character. It's nice to have a cool female character. And also, yeah, I like Luke. I mean, he's the one who it starts with, if you start with chapter 4, and yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, Luke is the classic hero archetype that we meet from the very beginning. It's a classic hero's journey that is done pretty well. And are you done with your honorable mentions?
Yes.
He's one of mine as well.
Oh, nice.
You know, he's a classic hero. I love him. I can't say I love what they did with his character in the sequels, but I'm gonna ignore that.
Yeah, that's okay. You can.
Another one of mine is Han Solo, of course. He's one of the coolest characters in Star Wars. He's, like I said, I love his character arc, and maybe I'm a bit biased, but his prequel was what we did on our first date.
Yeah. So, yeah, that one does hold a special place in our hearts.
Yes, it does. The Emperor, Sheev Palpatine, great villain. He's one of the few things in the prequels that most people generally love. He's a very enigmatic, very entertaining, very larger than life villain. You see him in basically every good light that you can see a villain. You can see him calm and collected, big and bombastic, even kind of funny at times. He's just a really entertaining character. And the prequels and the original, and yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's a good villain.
Somehow he returns, but honestly, part of me didn't mind seeing Palpatine again in Rise of Skywalker because Ian McDiarmid just does a fantastic job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense that he's here, but you know what? Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Some clinkers, as it were. R2, of course, love him. He's just the best little guy.
Yes, I've established that.
K2SO, one of my favorite characters from Disney Star Wars. He's just a sarcastic douche, but I love him. Chopper from Star Wars Rebels, just the most murderous little droid who works for the Rebels.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And one final choice for my honorable mentions, Plo Koon, the orange mask-wearing Jedi that we saw in all the prequels, who really didn't get much character until he showed up on Clone Wars, because he was Dave Filoni's favorite character. Just a strong mentor character that Anakin really could have used as a master. He would have done a much better job than Obi-Wan did. But again, Obi-Wan did his best.
I don't remember that character.
That's fine. Let's just get into your number one.
Well, my number one is somebody you already talked about, but my number one is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Whenever I think of Star Wars, this character, he's the first one in my mind, because I think he is the coolest Jedi. I think he can probably beat all the other Jedis in a fight, if I had to guess.
He has the high ground.
Yeah.
Plus all the other Jedi are, dead.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I think you did a good job at summing him up, so I won't speak too long. But he is one of my favorite characters just because he's so cool, and we see him a lot too. He's throughout the prequels. We see him, and we do see him in episode 4. So that's nice. We see him all old, and we see him young through old. So yeah, we see a lot of him, and yeah, like I said, I just think he's cool.
And to think, Alec Guinness didn't much care for Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
But he figured that it was going to be a big success, so he got it in writing that he was going to get a good percentage of the box office. So, good on you, my man. Get your bag.
Yeah, that was smart. So yeah, that was my number one. What's yours?
My number one is a character who isn't too well known for most people who just go by the movies. He was introduced in the books in the Legends continuity. He was reintroduced in canon on Star Wars Rebels, and he made his live-action debut on Ahsoka Season 1. I'm, of course, talking about the Chiss Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, I don't know much about that guy.
He's great. So, basically, the Chiss are another race of aliens in the unknown regions, okay? They're blue people, basically. Not quite like Avatar. They're more like just people who are blue.
Huh. Just people, but blue.
Basically, yeah. And Thrawn here, he's sent by the government of his planet to really infiltrate the Republic and then later on the Empire to see if they would help them in their fight against the Yuuzhan Vong. It's a different sort of alien. I may be getting some of my Legends stories mixed up. I apologize if so, but it may not have been against the Yuuzhan Vong. It may have been just in general. But anyways, that was Legends continuity. In the current Star Wars canon, it's kind of similar. He was sent by the Chiss Ascendancy to infiltrate the military of the Empire, which they did accept him into it because Palpatine was curious about this alien. He allowed him in, even though Palpatine is very racist against everyone, really.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because there's like different creatures everywhere, but oh well.
Well, Palpatine's on that super racism. It's kind of like Frieza.
Oh, just keep going.
Anyways, so basically, Thrawn is using the Empire for his own means to really help his own people, but since he is working with the Empire, he's going to do the best job possible he can. So what does that mean? It means he is going to crush the rebellion at any chance he gets. All right, since they're the enemies of the Empire, they're his enemies, but he's also going to learn as much about his enemies as he can, as we see when he's dealing with with Harrison Dula and her people, the Twi'leks. He studies them through their art and their culture, basically, to get a understanding of how they are as a people. We see him have a certain amount of respect for Vader, and he's actually one of the few people who figured out that Vader and Anakin are the same people, given that he worked with Anakin during the Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Thrawn is, just to me, one of the most interesting and one of the most dynamic characters in all of Star Wars. You know, he's someone he's got his own agenda, but he's also perfectly willing to play ball with people who aren't on the up and up, but that doesn't matter. He's using them for his own gain. But he has a strange sense of loyalty to them. It's kind of complicated, but it's great. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay. I trust you.
But that will do it for us. Star Wars is a series that we both definitely have a lot of love for, even though in more recent years it hasn't been the best. But having said that, even in its not so great outing, Star Wars still has something worth watching.
Yeah. You're right.
So, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.